All right. Hey, welcome. Good morning, Psych of the Personality students. This is Mr. Bowden coming at you live, trying to new video recorder format. And we're going to talk about motivation, things that drive us to do whatever it is we do. Okay. So before we left, before coronavirus took hold and canceled school for everybody, we talked about achievement and accomplishment and risk using the bozo bucket experiment. And so, with that, remember the people who are motivated by accomplishment, you just want to get it done. You threw the balls in the 2 bucket. Achievement, you wanted a challenge, you wanted to prove yourself to be the best, threw it in the 4 and 6. Risk motivation, chucked them all at the 8 bucket and hope for the best. Okay, just got to risk it to get the biscuit. The other theories of motivation, which are in your notes, so hopefully you have your notes with you. You can pause this and open up those notes if you want to. Okay, or actually you should. Just to go through a few of those theories, take a few minutes of your time, take notes as we go. First one, evolutionary theory. So with evolutionary theory, if you remember this, if you were in Psych of the Mind, we talked about this perspective is, your goal is to survive and reproduce. Okay, survive, reproduce. So evolutionary theory believes that that's what motivates human behavior, just like animal behavior. We're trying to make sure that A, we continue to exist, and B, that our genes continue to exist. Okay, so explanation or example we used last semester, looking for a mate, and you find yourself attracted to a big muscle-bound guy, it has to do with evolution, because that muscle-bound guy will be able to protect you, okay, so you can survive, and he'll be able to protect your kids. Your genes will survive. So survive and reproduce. Name of the game with evolutionary theory. Instinct theory, which is the second or third one on there after you have accomplishment, achievement, risk. Instinct theory you can think of as genetic programming. Okay, basic behaviors that are unlearned. Okay, so this is totally the first couple are all nature side of things. So if instinct theory holds true, okay, then we're just driven to do things because it's in our programming to do it. For instance, giving an example with my dog, she will often bury her food. Like she'll bring inanimate objects from around the house and put them in on top of her food. Like, why is she doing that? Well, she's burying it because in nature dogs do, or foxes and wild dogs do that so they can eat it later. They're hiding the food. Instinct theory. Okay, so like I said, you got 2 at the start, which are more nature. I guess the fourth one, drive reduction theory, kind of has the same principle, but it's more about our needs. Okay, so the whole idea of drive reduction theory is we are driven to satisfy our basic needs, and that would be your definition of it, driven to satisfy our basic needs. With drive reduction theory, if you're hungry, you eat. If you're thirsty, you drink. Sleepy, you take a nap. Okay, basically we're all trying to get back to what this term is, another term on your vocab, homeostasis. We're all trying to reach homeostasis, which is, for definition's sake, for vocab, your body's equilibrium. So we're all trying to get back to that point, to being full, to being not tired anymore, to being warm, to, those sorts of things are all about homeostasis. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow when we talk about the hypothalamus and the role it plays and making sure we want to eat. But the whole idea of drive reduction theory, we are driven to satisfy those basic biological needs to reach homeostasis. Okay. The next theory on there, which if you took Psych of the Mind, we talked a lot about Skinner and operant conditioning and how rewards and punishment shape motivation. That's incentive theory. So incentive theory, think rewards and punishment shape motivation. Okay, shape behavior. Okay, so I guess you could say, I don't know, if your parents say you have to do 20 minutes of reading before you can play video games, or your parents say you have to do, you have to clean your room before you can go on technology. That sort of thing. That's incentives. Incentives driving you're motivated, but you're not really motivated by goodwill or anything. You just want to do it to get the reward. There are two types, and what we're talking about right now is extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation you can think of as motivation coming from outside. Okay, so it's external. So you guys doing this so that you can get a good grade. And if you get a good grade here, GPA goes up, get into a good college, get a good job, and get a good job, you make money. That's extrinsic motivation. It's coming from outside. Intrinsic motivation would then come from inside. Okay, intrinsic motivation comes from internal things. So things that you're passionate about, things that you would do even if there was no reward. Okay, so if you do something for the love of it. Okay, with me in running right now, I'm not particularly fast anymore. I do it not because I'm going to win a prize, but because it feels good. Okay, it's something I really enjoy doing. That's intrinsic motivation. Which leads us to our next term, arousal theory. And it's not that type of arousal. When we're talking about arousal theory here, we're talking about seeking stimulation. So seeking stimulation is your key way of remembering arousal theory. We're trying to find this optimum balance between not being stressed, but also not being bored. So probably an easy way to think of arousal theory is hobbies. Things that you do just because you're interested in them. Okay, maybe Keelan goes mountain climbing. Maybe Sophia goes skydiving. Okay, all of these are designed to stimulate you guys. Okay, excite you a little bit. Things that you just enjoy doing for the sake of it. So hobbies, collecting comics, building Lego sets. Think of anything you do, drawing, stuff like that. I'll give you an example. Like Nadia, my daughter, loves to draw. She didn't really like taking art classes in school, but for that's kind of the extrinsic sort of thing. But she enjoys sitting around at home, drawing new characters, doing all kinds of fun things, sketching things out, just because she wants to do it. That's arousal theory. Now, within arousal theory, you'll see the next term on there, the Yerkes-Dodson theory. And the Yerkes-Dodson theory talks about how performance and arousal relate to each other. And again, it makes a lot of sense to me to talk about sports in this case, but you can think of any other activity as well. So the Yerkes-Dodson theory looks like that. Okay, so you have arousal on the horizontal axis, performance. Let's see here, I'm trying to figure this out. Performance on the vertical axis. Okay, and what it basically talks about is when you have a low level of arousal, your performance tends to not be all that great. Basically because, at a low level of arousal, you don't care. Okay, you're not all that interested in the task at hand, so you might not do particularly well. As arousal increases, so does your performance. Okay, so think about it this way. We'll talk more about social facilitation in the last unit of the class. But let's say you're in a play, and nobody comes to the play. There's only one person in the audience. It's your grandmother. Maybe you're down here. Okay, maybe you're up here though when you see a full crowded house. People who get amped up, people who get excited about performing in front of other people. That level of arousal increases. That increases their performance. Now there's a limit to that though. As you can see, too much arousal, we might choke. Okay, too much arousal, you think about, we'll say Kyler's on the free throw line at the state championship basketball game, and everything's riding on this, and his hands start shaking, and oh my gosh, the ball goes into the stands. Okay, so there are limits to how aroused we can get and how they affect performance. Okay, so it's not always there's such a thing as too much. Okay, somebody who coaches cross country and track, I see runners get psyched out all the time. So there's a limit to how good you can be if you're too amped up. The last thing on there, and we'll finish. We talked about this last unit with personality, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. With Maslow's hierarchy of needs, what we're looking at is, remember, you got to satisfy first basic biological needs. So you got to eat, got to drink, hey, got to have shelter, basic, got to be able to go to the bathroom, basic biological needs, base level. Level 2, safety needs, safety, security. We're kind of struggling with that right now because, again, we're all worried about getting sick. So, safety needs, feeling safe, feeling secure, knowing that everything's going to be okay. Level 2. Level 3, belongingness needs, so your relationship with other people, that sort of thing. Number 4, fourth level of the pyramid, hierarchy of needs, is esteem needs, how you feel about yourself. And then the 5th level, self-actualization. Top of the pyramid, feeling good about yourself, being the ultimate version of yourself. So that's the last theory of motivation we have, the drive that we have to become the best version of ourselves, the ultimate Mr. Bowden or the ultimate Miss Cripple or the ultimate Ariel or the ultimate Connor. All that stuff, satisfy those other needs, you get to the top, self-actualization. So those are some of the basic theories having to do with motivation. I will share, if this stuff didn't make sense, share the crash course tomorrow, and the crash course will help cement this stuff in your head, because you are going to be quizzed on this when we get back, knock on wood, eventually. Okay, so have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow.